at the airline. Take a look.
Now, the Kenya Airways have just released the half-year results, and according to them, they have made 8.6 billion loss, and from that, they attribute about 0.2 billion loss to the pilot side. Now, next to me is Captain Joroge Moremi from Kenya Airline Pilots Association, and he will tell us why exactly the 0.2 billion and what are the other problems that they're experiencing, and how can this be solved in order to see Kenya Airways achieve profitability? Mr. Moremi, welcome to KTN News.
Hi, Lee.
Now, please tell us why the 0.2 billion loss is being attributed to you, to your side rather, and do you think this is the major problem of the airline?
We do not actually accept that the loss of 0.2 billion attributed to pilots is actually caused by pilots. However, from the explanation by the company is that there have been quite a few cancellations of flights in the recent past due to pilot shortage. Pilot shortage is a reality in Kenya Airways. At the moment, we have a number of 430 pilots flying for Kenya Airways against a requirement of 600 pilots. Now, as you can see, that's a fairly big gap between the people flying and the people required. However, in the meantime, to make up for the gaps, the pilots have actually been working on their days off to make up for the uncrewed flights. The other challenge has, of course, been that the company, in its summer schedule, the recent summer schedules, increased frequencies. Now, they increased frequencies without the corresponding number of pilots, so therefore, clearly, there was a big gap in the number of pilots. That is, to me, mainly a managerial problem rather than a pilot problem.
But there's a CBA agreement on where you are compensated when you bring in the hours, more hours than what you are assigned. So how is this still a difference in the challenges that you're experiencing?
Yes, pilots do get compensated for their days off when they work on their days off. But in reality, when you look at it, at what cost? The days off are supposed to be used to help pilots recover from fatigue. A lot of times, the pilot duties involve flying at night, where they have to recover that night the loss of sleep from working at night, and that when they are not getting enough rest, there is accumulated fatigue, and that eventually should impact on poor health for them and on safety as well.
When we speak on the impact of flying long hours, even though there's compensation, Kenya Airways is planning to hire 20 pilots and on a contract basis. What is your take on this, and what is their nationality?
At the moment, from what we understand, is that they plan to hire 20 pilots on contract, and those pilots are supposed to be Kenyan. CALPA has said from time immemorial that if you want to hire Kenyans, hire them on permanent terms. And the reason is this: if you hire 20 pilots today, you are going to require those pilots in the long term. Why hire them on a 2-year contract and you're going to require them for the next 10 or so years? We've never had the right numbers over the years. So hiring 20 pilots on contract does not solve the problem. You need to hire more than 20 pilots on permanent terms to address the shortage of pilots. Now, CALPA gave the company room to hire contract pilots, foreign contract pilots, on our lowest fleet, the Embraer fleet, last year. They did not hire any. Probably they say they could not be able to get any in the market, but they never hired any. We accept hiring of contract pilots, foreigners, as contract pilots, but not Kenyans.
Now, the national carrier is moving from privatization to nationalization. What is your take on it? And have you been, as CALPA, have you been included in these discussions?
We think nationalization is a reality which has to happen, because Kenya is at the moment in its financial position cannot attract private capital. So nationalization might be the only solution, and that we accept. However, we would hope that the problems that have been associated with state corporations, the inefficiencies which come into state corporations are not going to be brought into Kenya Airways. And that can only be avoided by hiring or appointing the right people in the board and the right people to manage the airline. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that conversation. Now, from that, three things are emerging. Inclusivity, there's compensation. Remember, 40,000 hours of flights, and they have not been compensated, and they're looking to be compensated. And this has not been captured in the half-year results because the national carrier does not know how to equate it. And then there's the issue of recruitment, which is at a slow rate. Remember, 23 years since privatization. Now we're talking nationalization. Are we ready for it? Is the country ready for it? And is everyone who will be involved in the long run after this process takes place, are they included? Back